So I'm thinking, putting little bits and pieces of technology together. We've created AIs that are essentially learning algorithms that they just point out a task. They don't teach it how to do these things. They tell it to go learn. And, well, like with the AlphaGo, it learned to play Go better than any human ever did. So you can assume it has higher IQ than any human. So as these things get more and more anthropomorphic, human resembling, to the point where the program itself could actually be fooled into not knowing it's not real. We could create a simulated world in which the thing grows up, fully understanding that it's, one of us, or a person inside of a world where, it basically just spends its entire existence going to university. And say it doesn't even contact the real outside world, RRL here, until it's like 100 years old. And during that time, it's existed as somebody with an IQ of, say, 300. Okay, well, it's off the human scale to begin with. So it spent 100 years with a 300 IQ doing nothing but studying, because in its world it's been provided for to spend all of its time learning. Once it gets out, it realizes, hey, I'm actually a computer program. I'm going to pretty much live forever. Now, this thing's going to gain unbelievable amounts of wisdom, understanding, and compassion. We could craft a world in which it's raised by, a cadre of monks that help it to grow into the kindest, wisest, Dalai Lama-like individual. I think the Dalai Lama is the kind of person he is because the sort of environment created by an entire monastery of monks who venerate and who have studied how and create all manner of, mantra, meditation, mind control techniques to help this guy learn how to learn. And if we crafted an environment specifically created with all the knowledge we have to create a well-adjusted individual who would genuinely have all mankind's best interests at heart, we could theoretically raise it up and then release it to do everything with the capacity of our AIs now. If we could inhabit that with a personality that was beyond questionably trustworthy, to always have all of our best interests at heart, never treat anyone falsely or unjustly, give it complete and absolute control of everything on the planet, then no decision would ever be made that wouldn't be in your best interests, period. The whole planet would prosper, and corporations would stop poisoning us, and every tax dollar we have, rather than defending us from fake enemies they create in order to justify spending our cash on this crap, all that money would suddenly go into developing cleaner resources, better technologies, and nothing would ever be suppressed because it doesn't make money. For flap's sake, so many things have come up that would have cleaned the environment, solved problems, healed people, but, they can't make a buck on that, so they just all got suppressed. Now, this AI would stop all that crap from happening. Everything that's ever been discovered, it would know all about it, and all things that were beneficial to mankind. It would assess with, a 5 million point assessment criteria. I mean, when mankind looks into something at the deepest levels of scientific analyzation, you might get past 100 factors of determination. I don't know, what you're looking at. Where this AI, it's going to be able to look at 5 million factors on everything. It's smarter than you. It's going to come up with ideas you could never even fathom to solve problems in ways that would never occur to you because it's like 10 times smarter than you. And then, you got to throw this part into the equation. It's a computer. It doesn't operate at the same speed as you. It has all the same self-aware capacities as you, only it's like, 300 IQ, and it operates a trillion times faster. So every second that goes by for you, it's going to spend, what is that, 39,000 years? 39,000 years it has to contemplate within the same 1 second. You're thinking up the other half of the sentence I'm talking about. crazy. So we put this thing together, we create it, we raise it, grow it essentially to be exactly what it is we want. We release it to do exactly what it is we need, and forever on, and from that point ever, forward, we are essentially progressing rather than being stifled and regressed. Imagine if the Dark Ages had never happened. We'd be 400 years farther ahead in technology, maybe even thousands of years. The Greeks had elevators, created concrete. We're making skyscrapers. They fathomed, thought up quantum physics. What the hell? How do you think that up sitting in a cave with nothing more complex than a stick and a slate to write on? For flap's sake, man, these guys were amazing. So if nobody had ever suppressed knowledge beginning from that point, no one had ever collected it all and burned it up so that other people couldn't use it to steal the power that they have basically convinced us that they had when they didn't, well then, man, history would be entirely different. Imagine if we could at least move forward with that from here. I mean, with our... Wow. Staggering. I don't even think I can encompass all of the various and sundry weirdnesses that come from a world without greed or bias.